Hello guys, this is JamJam. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about something very dear to my heart, and that is food. And the twist is I'm going to share with you guys some of the most bizarre food items that we consume in Bhutan. So stay tuned. If you haven't already, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. So some of you may be already familiar with other Asian cuisines such as the Chinese cuisine, and if that is the case, then some of the items on my list may not seem as bizarre or as grotesque. After all, when it comes to eating bizarre food items, you cannot compete with the Chinese. There's a well-known Chinese saying that goes something like, Chinese people eat anything that has four legs other than a table, anything that flies other than a plane, and anything that swims other than a submarine. So by that standard, us Bhutanese are definitely not as daring, but that doesn't mean some of the items on this list are any less bizarre or grotesque. Also, the thing about Bhutanese cuisine is we do not consume any seafood because our country is landlocked. So before I begin my list, I just want to let you guys know that some of the food items on this list may no longer be consumed today, or the practice of consuming these food items is on the verge of disappearing because number one, some of the food items have been deemed illegal to procure by the government, and number two, the younger generation Bhutanese are no longer interested in consuming these food items. The first item on my list is called Jyam Jingnyem. And what is this dish? This is a dish made of hornet larvae. Yes, you heard me right. This dish is believed to revive your body with vigor and vitality, but it is also a dish that could kill you. Well, not while eating it, but the process of acquiring wild hornet larvae is very dangerous and definitely not something for the faint of heart. A hornet sting can be very fatal to the human body because of the sheer size of hornets. Also, the amount of venom they release per sting can be very harmful to the human body because hornets release more venom per sting than any other stinging insect. While mature hornets aren't very tasty, their larva definitely is. It has a rich, meaty taste with an almost shrimp-like texture. Bhutanese people consider this a medicinal food item as it is rich in protein. Most older generation Bhutanese also believe this dish cures many ailments such as fatigue, tinnitus, and a weakened immune system. The practice of eating hornet larvae is common among other Asian countries such as Japan and China as well. In Bhutan, this dish is usually prepared by stir-frying it in butter and adding condiments such as dried red chili pepper, Sichuan pepper, garlic, ginger, and spring onions. Today, eating hornet larvae is a dying practice as most younger generation Bhutanese do not consume this dish, myself included. At number 2, we have another Bhutanese delicacy called masha, and for a lack of better description, masha is rotten yak meat, eeks. Now, that doesn't sound appealing at all, but I can assure you it tastes heavenly and has a very nice buttery texture to it. So, for those of you who haven't heard of yak, yak is an animal native to the Himalayan region, and it is a huge cow-like animal with long hair. And in Bhutan, we consume yak meat, yak cheese, yak butter, and we also use other parts of the yak like the yak hide and yak hair to make clothing products. While everything yak is very popular with the locals, and yak meat is definitely considered tastier than cow meat or beef, the culture of eating masha is a dying practice today. It wouldn't be surprising if some Bhutanese people have never heard of this dish before. Let's delve into how masha is made. Masha is made from the leg part of the yak. A whole leg meat of a yak is skinned and the meat is wrapped into a piece of cloth and placed inside a cloth bag. It is then hung in a cold place. It is crucial the place have a proper cold air flow. The meat is stored in this condition for a few months until the outer layer of the meat has dried up and the inside has completely rotted. A technique to check if the meat has completely rotted on the inside is by sticking a knife through the meat itself. If small bits of the meat sticks to the knife, the process is deemed complete. Masha is an acquired taste and it is generally consumed as cold cuts. Up next is a favorite of many Bhutanese despite its pungent smell. Soete is Bhutan's version of stinky tofu or blue cheese. It is fermented cow or yak cheese. Despite its pungent smell, Bhutanese people believe soete to be a magical ingredient because they believe any dish tastes better with soete in it. Also, another thing about soete is there is a joke that if you cook it in your kitchen, your neighbors would know about it because of how pungent the smell is. So how is soete consumed? Soete is added to dishes such as ematati, one of the most popular Bhutanese dishes made of chili and cheese. So it becomes soete ematati. or it is also added to eze, a Bhutanese chili sauce paste. Yak sute is more coveted than the cow one as it undergoes a longer fermentation time. The way to make sute is by placing fresh yak cheese inside a container made of yak hide and then stored in a warm place for many years. The longer the fermentation process, the tastier it's believed to be. This is a Bhutanese delicacy, once a highly sought after item because locals considered it a meat with medicinal properties, but today the practice of consuming cheddar is banned in Bhutan. Cheddar is wild pheasants, a bird native to Asia. This meat is believed to be rich in iron and low in fat. Locals believe wild pheasants feed on a poisonous seed found in the wild, and their body breaks down this poisonous seed and converts it into medicine. Hence, the meat is considered to be medicinal. Cheddar, or also known as Himalayan monal, is an endangered species, and these birds have gone extinct in many parts of the world today, so the consumption of cheddar is illegal in Bhutan. This meat is stir-fried in butter, dried red chili pepper, Sichuan pepper, garlic, ginger, and spring onions. Pilou is another type of fermented yak cheese, but it does not have the stinky, pungent smell to it. Instead, Pilou has a creamy cheese texture and a rich taste with a slight sourness. The method to make Pilou is painstaking and time-consuming. A bamboo container is filled with tiny twigs, and each morning it is rinsed with yak milk. The process is repeated for a few weeks until the twigs are laden with a thick layer of cream cheese. Then the container is left in a cold place for a few days until microbes grow on the cheese layer. Pilou is cooked with a big blob of butter and sliced green chilies. Pilou can also be cooked with mushrooms. Since Pilou is a coveted item, it is usually cooked with more expensive species of mushrooms such as chantilly and mashitake, which are both native to Bhutan. Lo is lungs of a cow or a yak. There are a couple of ways to prepare this dish. The first method is to chop the pieces into smaller chunks and fry it in butter or oil with Sichuan pepper, chili pepper, garlic, ginger, and spring onions. The second method is a bit more time consuming. In the second method, the trachea or windpipe is kept attached to the lungs. A viscous batter of rice powder, Sichuan pepper, chili powder, salt, and minced mint leaves are poured down the windpipe until the mixture fills up every bronchus. The windpipe is then closed up using a string, and the whole thing is boiled in hot water until the mixture solidifies. Then it is hung up to dry. Once dried, it can be stir-fried the same way like the first method, or it can be consumed as cold cuts served with a spicy chili paste. Ko is yak or cow hide, and in Bhutan people generally consider yak ko to be tastier than cow, and for that matter any part of the yak meat is considered tastier than cow meat or beef. In Bhutan, the way to prepare yak or cow hide or ko is by stretching out the hide and sun drying it until it's completely dried. Once dried, then it's cut into long ribbon strips and curled around a pole. The cow is then roasted over an open fire to singe the cow or yak hair, and the burnt parts are later scraped clean. After that, it can be kept like that until you want to cook it. To cook it, firstly, cow has to be soaked in water to make it soft, then scrape off any leftover burnt parts or dirt, and then it is cooked under high pressure until it becomes tender. It can then be cut into smaller strips and stir-fried in oil, spring onions, Sichuan pepper, salt, and chili powder. Ko has a jelly-like texture and it is very tender to bite on. It is a popular side dish enjoyed with a glass of wine or local ara. Kanchu is tortoise. It can be yak tortoise, cow tortoise, or pig tortoise. The kanchu meat does not contain any muscles or fleshy meat pieces. It only consists of skin, tendons, and cartilage. The feet of the animal, either cow, yak, or pig, is hung to dry in the sun. Once dried, it can be roasted over an open fire, and the burnt parts or layer is later scraped off. It is then chopped into smaller chunks and cooked for a prolonged period or under high pressure for it to become tender. It acquires a pleasant, soft texture, and the gelatines are extracted out of the tortoise into a soup. In Bhutanese cuisine, the tortoise are prepared in a rich broth soup with ingredients such as chili, Sichuan pepper, salt, and spring onions. It has a gelatinous, rather chewy, soft texture due to its tendons and skin. Che is the tongue of a cow or a yak. Yes, Bhutanese people even eat tongue. I guess we don't want to waste any part of a cow or a yak. In Bhutan, che is not as popular as other intestine dishes such as liver and tripe. Che can be consumed as cold cuts, or it can be stir-fried with red or green chilies, garlic, ginger, and Sichuan pepper. Both versions are usually consumed with alcohol. In Bhutan, we have special dishes called champas, and these dishes are usually consumed as side dishes while drinking alcohol. And champas are usually intestine dishes or salads. Finally, at number 10, we have chim. Chim is liver. The three main types of liver that we consume in Bhutan is yak liver, cow liver, and pig liver. It is one of my favorite personal dishes as well. Liver may not be as bizarre as the other items on this list as it is consumed in many parts of the world. In Bhutan, liver is consumed mostly as a side dish with alcohol, like I mentioned earlier. The most popular way to prepare liver or chim is by stir-frying it with red or green chilies. Garlic, ginger, and Sichuan pepper is a must. In fact, most intestine dishes or all intestine dishes in Bhutan add Sichuan peppercorn to enhance its taste. Coriander leaves are also sprinkled over the cooked liver dish. Kyep or tripe is the edible muscle lining of a stomach of a cow or a yak. The tripe is generally one of the healthiest ways to eat meat due to it being extremely low in calories when compared to other cuts of beef. Tripe is also a great source of vitamin B12, iron, calcium, and protein. Kyep is an acquired taste. It has a chewy texture and a rather bland flavor. Like the other intestine dishes in Bhutan, kyep can also be stir-fried in oil with condiments such as chilies, Sichuan pepper, green onion, garlic, ginger, and coriander leaves. For sticking with me till the end, I have a bonus item for you. In certain parts of Bhutan, locals consume a bug with very stinky smell called hehem, and the English name for it is stink bug. And with this, it's a wrap. Let me know in the comment section which one is your favorite bizarre food dish or item, and which one you dare to try. For me, my favorite is chim or liver, but I would love to try the hornet larva. I still haven't tried it to this day. And if you guys haven't already, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel. See you guys next time.